Hi, my name is Rishi, and you're listening to Amidst the Chaos exclusively on Anchor. Today we have a very special guest. You can call him an L&D practitioner, a leader, an inspirer, a motivator. He's an age-old name in the field of learning and development in the corporate industry. And as we hit the pandemic, there are emerging trends. And to discuss the scope of learning and development and what it holds for the future, we'll talk to the man himself. We have Surya Prakash Mahapatra on the show with us today. Hi, Surya. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Rishi. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
always a pleasure, Surya. So, we are amidst the pandemic in 2020. So, how have you been and what have you been up to these days?
I'm doing pretty good. I think the last few days have been really challenging, turbulent, but has had given us loads of learning, lot of discoveries. So I'm definitely enjoying this, and then also trying to help my colleagues, my customers, my friends, and we are all together in this.
Right. Absolutely. And I think looking at the speed with which the crisis has, overtaken the global economy, it may provide a clue to how deep the recession will be. Do you think we will really see a recession like we did in 2008?
Rishi, we're already in a recession, and I think it's a deep recession. So pandemic actually has halted not just people's lives, but livelihood as well. Definitely there has been a great impact on economy, on business, on our lifestyle, on almost all aspects of our lives. So are we in a recession? Yes, we are in a deep recession. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely, Surya. So specifically for learning and development, because you come from that background, for our viewership, if you could just, talk us through the journey as to what happened. Was it a conscious decision of you moving into learning and development? Were you always a part of L&D right after college? And what made you choose this? I mean, it's been so many years, but if you could just talk us through your journey.
Sure. Let me share some secrets with you today. My childhood dream... My childhood dream was to become a politician.
Oh.
And but not for the sake of power or anything, but I think from my childhood, I had a deep desire to make a difference to the world, to touch people's lives, to be precise. And I felt politics is a powerful tool to get there. But I think as I grew up, somehow I lost interest in politics because of the nature of the profession, etc., or whatever it is.
Right.
And in my school days, I was participating in public speaking and debate contests. So when I completed my graduation, my dad told me, "You're good at public speaking. We're good at speaking. You should become a lawyer." So that's how I kind of landed up in an LLB program. Started pursuing law for some time. Then I realized it's not my cup of tea, and I dropped out of my law program and got into entrepreneurship after my graduation. Interestingly, my first venture was in the training field. I had set up a training center, and the fact that I was good at public speaking, etc., also made me a good trainer. So I was not just running a training center, I was also a trainer, the principal trainer in that center. And ran that for some time. Then I decided that my entrepreneurship venture is not taking me very far. I have not been really made it something exciting, outstanding, though it was running very well, but it was, running in a mediocre fashion. So I think then I got into the corporate world, started my career in the corporate world into a profit center management, then into sales and marketing for some time, business development. I ran operations, I was into channel partner management for some time
Wow.
before I landed myself in an L&D role. And so once I landed myself in an L&D role, there was no going back. And the fact that my childhood dream or desire to touch lives, make a difference to people, I think that dream was best fulfilled in my role in L&D, because I realized this is one role where I can actually touch thousands of lives. I can ignite minds. I can make a difference to people. And
Right.
once I got into that role, there is no looking back. And in today's pandemic situation, as we talk about, I can really vouch for the important role that L&D professionals can play
Right.
in terms of touching lives and making a difference to people, to their livelihood, to their career, and so on. So to answer your question, did I know that I'm going to pick up this role? No, I had no idea, because when I started my corporate career, probably L&D as a function did not exist. It was part of a part of the HR function.
Correct.
Yeah, so definitely I did not come into this by choice. But I think once I landed here, it became my choice and probably became my career destination.
Absolutely, Surya. And I think it's the same with a lot of people. It takes them quite some time to figure out as to what they really want to do in life, what their calling is. And different people have different inspirations, I'm sure. So, as a part of learning and development or your overall growth in life, I mean, do you have a person who's had a tremendous impact on you as a leader? And if yes, then how did this person, impact your success?
Yes. While there are many individuals, many people, many mentors influenced me, including my parents, many mentors along my career journey. The person who had the most profound influence on me is my spiritual guide, Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. And when we talk about a spiritual guide, when we talk about spirituality, sometimes people associate spirituality with religion, with rituals, with customs, practices, etc. But for me, spirituality is not that. Through the guidance of my guide, I have understood by practicing spirituality the connection with self, the realization that I am the creation of the Creator has given me immense power and strength, because the Creator has infinite strength and energy. And then if you realize, the moment you realize that you are the creation of the Creator, you inherit infinite power and strength within yourself. And that makes the big difference in you as an individual. So for me, when I look at myself from a spiritual point of view, I am my soul. So I am not my title, I'm not my position, I'm not the job that I do. I am my soul, my spirit, my existence. And when you realize that, then the sense of strength and power comes into you. And then you become fearless. Because the moment you think, the moment Surya thinks that Surya is the global head of the L&D function in a global organization, then you attach yourself with a title.
Of course.
Then when you attach yourself with a title or designation or position, then you always have the fear of losing that, because you're attached to it.
Absolutely.
But if you're not attached to the title, but you're attached to yourself and the Creator, then you are fearless. You are equipped with infinite strength and energy and power. That makes you grounded on one hand, but makes you extremely determined on the other hand. Yeah. That makes you fearless on one hand, but you never become arrogant on the other hand. you know,
Right.
that makes you balanced, level-headed, and so on. So many a time people ask me, hey, you are a spiritual person, but how are you in the world of business? You know, so generally people believe that a spiritual person is less aggressive, calm, quiet, may not be result oriented, and so on. But these are, you know, wrong. These are misconceptions. You know, actually, a spiritual person is highly determined. Uh, he has definitely immense amount of strength. He or she is fearless, absolutely balanced, grounded, which imbibes a lot of trust and brings in a lot of empathy. And also, a spiritual person is somebody who actually has, you know, a lot of, the sense of self-realization, which continues to, guide him on the path. So, and at the same time, he also brings in huge amount of intensity and passion in what he or she does.
Right.
I think these are the qualities you need in business. You need intensity and passion. You need to be fearless. You need to be balanced. You need to have empathy for your customers, your people, and so on. So Rishi, I'm in the journey. So do I claim that I have all these qualities? No. But I have the sense of determination and the belief that I'm on that journey, and then I can get there.
Absolutely, and I think I can really relate to what you're saying, because when I was a small kid, I was initiated, and it's called Diksha in Hindi, and the spiritual journey begins from there. I had no to very little idea because I was pretty young at that point, but spiritualism came into existence when I underwent a lot of pain, and suffering in my life over a period of time. So yeah, I can really relate to what you're saying, Surya. So, I mean, being in the corporate industry for such a long time, what do you think, it takes to make it big in any corporate for that matter? You've been a leader for so many years now, decades, I could say. So people talk about flattery, people talk about smart work, people talk about hard working, uh, you know, networking for that matter. You've got to have networking skills. So is it a combination of everything that you need? Do you really need to flatter your bosses, super bosses to get there? Because we've seen a lot of instances and examples, to be candid, across organizations where, there is lobbying that's happening all the time, and, there are favorites that are chosen before, positions are rolled out. People know who's going to get selected. So what is the secret mantra to keep moving up the ladder?
Rishi, thousands of books have been written on leadership, millions of pages have been written. If you log into YouTube or social media, you would find podcasts and videos on leadership, etc. So I don't want to sound repetitive by talking about the leadership mantra. But having said that, I believe in one thing, that for a leader to become successful and a true leader, a leader must have a larger purpose. The larger purpose is, it is purpose over profits. It's a larger objective of making a difference. One of the most successful business leaders in this world, in our times, Bill Gates, who was the richest man in the world at one point in time, and probably one of the richest even today, started Microsoft. But when he started Microsoft, he had no idea that he is going to become the richest man in the world. He did not start Microsoft to become the richest man in the world. He started Microsoft to make a software which the common man can use. He had a purpose. It's the purpose which drove him to what he achieved. He became the richest man in the world is only incidental. That's another matter.
Right.
So I think the most important attribute for a leader is purpose. And the purpose is not about making wealth. becoming the most profitable organization, making the most profitable organization, but having the most meaningful purpose for your customers, for your colleagues, for your workforce, for your stakeholders and partners. If that is there, everything else will fall in place. So that brings us to the second quality, which actually comes with purpose, is the value proposition. So
Right.
what uniqueness that you have as an individual, which will enable you to achieve that larger purpose? What is that uniqueness? What is the distinctiveness that you have as a leader? And the third attribute, Rishi, would be resilience. So once your purpose is clear and once you understand what is your value proposition that you are going to use as a tool to get to a purpose, then pursuing that with single-minded focus and devotion. You might go through ups and downs. You may fail. You may not succeed for some time. You are ready to make course correction, learning, making changes to your approach. But pursuing your purpose with a single-minded focus and devotion, going after it with great resilience till the time you have achieved your purpose. I think these are qualities which are absolutely essential to become successful, apart from everything else that you talked about. So I'm not discounting them, but if you have them but you don't have this, I doubt if you can become successful. You talked about nepotism. You talked about different other means that people take to achieve their career goals, but they are short-lived. They will not take you far. And a leader who is driven by purpose, not by profits, designation, title, position, etc., will not worry about all this. So he doesn't have to take any unfair means to get to the pinnacle of success, because he or she is not really attracted by the position or power or the title, but he is driven by a larger purpose. And when you're driven by the purpose, the whole universe will conspire to support you.
Awesome, Surya. Great to know your perspective on this. So, taking this conversation a little ahead, for senior roles, when you're faced with two equally qualified candidates, I'm sure you've interviewed so many people over the years for senior roles. So when you've got two equally qualified candidates, how do you determine whom to hire? I mean, does something come to your mind at that point?
Yeah, I think sometimes you are faced with situations like this. You have two candidates, both are equally qualified, both have got similar experience, and then you're not sure. And then but it's not a draw of lots that you use to decide who is the candidate that you would like to go for. But I think over the years, what I've realized, Rishi, is I think when everything else is constant, qualification, experience, etc., I think what I typically look for, or I would look for, would be a few things. So I think the most important thing I would look for is, does this person really want to do this? Why does he want to do this? Why does he want to take up this job? Because he badly needs it? Because he is excited, inspired by what he or she is going to do in this role? Or he is inspired by the money or anything else, or the comforts, or the need to be in a particular city or in a particular organization, and so on. So I will look for that passion. I would look for that, the desire to do this role. I ask this question to almost every candidate: why do you want to do? Why do you want to be in this? Why do you want to take up this L&D role? Don't you think L&D role is a thankless job? But sometimes you see that spark in people. They want to be in L&D because they're passionate about it, because they want to make a difference. They want to touch lives. They want to be with people. inspire them, encourage them, enable them. And when you see that attitude, when you see that desire, you are sold. Even if sometimes the qualification is not meeting your requirement, if the experience is not meeting your requirement, but if you see that passion, if you see that desire, you are sold. The second quality I would look for is learning agility. Is that person a good learner? Does this person come with a I know it all attitude, or he comes with I want to know everything attitude? So that's a key differentiation. That's a key differentiator, because if a person comes with an I know it all attitude, then that person can be detrimental to the organization and to himself and his own career. Absolutely. But if somebody comes with an open mind, with a learning appetite, I would go for that person. And the third most important quality I would look for is growth mindset. No matter how qualified the person is and what experience that person has, if the person comes with a fixed mindset, will not be very keen on hiring that person. But I'll be very keen on hiring somebody who has growth mindset, who has that problem-solving mindset, who believes the world can change, who believes that things can get better, and who believes that I can take the responsibility and accountability and ownership of making things better. So I think these are going to be the key differentiators. And when you talk about it, these are not qualifications or experiences, but these are traits which typically people don't learn in a B school or in a professional educational institution.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think very nicely put, Surya. And these are characteristics that you won't find on a piece of paper, which is the resume. But and I think that's why there are interviews. If we could only look at skill set and the kind of experience a person has, we would just bring him or her on board. And I think that's why so much of grilling also happens for diverse roles across an organization. So what advice would you give to young professionals who want to move into learning and development? And now that we are in the new normal in 2020 with this pandemic coming in, what is the scope of L&D and what will L&D look like in the future?
Oh, great question. L&D is going to be an enabler. L&D is going to play a very important role today and in future. As organizations and businesses try to come to terms with the aftermath of COVID-19, when they try to come out of this crisis, some of them would continue to struggle. Some of them may emerge stronger in the process. But as organizations try to get out of this crisis, they would like to bounce back. They would like to transform themselves. They would like to come up with new business models to survive and thrive in the new world beyond COVID-19. So they would need capability. They would need enablers. They would need new strategies and business models. So who can help them? It's L&D leaders, L&D practitioners who can help organizations bounce back, who can help the workforce pick up the right skills. It's not enough to come up with a new strategy and a business model. You will have to train your workforce on how to leverage that new business model. Absolutely. If the sales force in an organization is going to become virtual, you'll have to train the sales force on how to sell online, how to set up meetings with customers, how to engage with customers online, how to build rapport with your customers online. They would need those skills. Organizations would need to work. They need to enable their people to work in a virtual environment, in a remote working environment. Who can enable them to do that? People managers, leaders will have to manage and lead people virtually, remotely. Who is going to enable the managers and leaders to do that? Who is going to equip them with the right skills? and the tools to do that. I think L&D can play an important role. So I see a bright prospect for L&D. I see L&D is the key differentiator. L&D has to be the partner to the business. L&D has to create new experiences for people as we move forward beyond COVID-19. What advice I would give to youngsters? Come with an open mind. Be prepared to learn. L&D changing, L&D strategies are changing, L&D tools are changing. L&D has become more learner-centric versus instructor-centric or trainer-centric. So adapt, reimagine yourself, be prepared to reinvent, be prepared to adopt new tools, new techniques. But the core does not change. The core is you will still have to enable people. And that we'll probably have to do on a new platform using new tools. But the core is to enable people. That remains the same.
Right. So I think in the interest of time, and I'm sure, Surya, you have a pretty tight schedule. We'll keep it until here, until we hear from you the next time. And thank you so much for joining us and taking us through your journey, talking about learning and development, the scope, advising young professionals. And I'm sure your experience is also going to enhance people's mindset, especially for people who want to move into L&D. And I'm sure we'll have good people coming in into this fraternity. So yeah, thank you so much, Surya.
Thank you. Yes, it was great talking to you. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. Wish you all the best.
Sure. Thank you so much. So that's it for today. For our listeners, you were listening to Amidst the Chaos with Rishi, and all of you guys have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.